guys, welcome to the next episode. This is Bubba from Bubba Stowin. Happy racing, boys. Don't break nothing. If you do, I'll be waiting at the finish line.
Colder than a witch's titty out here. Oh man, that's cold as... That's nice. Hallelujah. The timing gear is in. To simplify this, the whole process can be broken down into a few steps. You already have your camshafts installed. Data labels facing up on both sides. With the exhaust and the intake phasers, they have little pins. The little pin's going to go into that little D groove on the end of the camshaft and lock itself in so it can't turn. The same thing on both sides. You're going to start on the driver's side, which is going to be left. I put it so that the color-coded link is on L for driver's side, left. Because when you're looking at the engine, it's the driver's side, left. Left is right, and right is left, right? And then I had to turn the keyway till about 5:30. The mark came up to line up with the chain. All right, I put the chain on, I ran it down here, I put this one in here. Actually, not that one. I put this one in here. And then I turned this one until these lined up again, right? If you miss it the first time, just keep going around. Eventually, the color-coded link will move one tooth at a time until it eventually goes all the way around to here. I stopped with it here so that I could line up the color-coded link for the right side and here. Made sure everything was lined up. Everything now is lined up and timed as it should be. And I tightened everything down. All right, for posterity, this is April 11th, 4:30 p.m. The last time the gold Mustang will be a 2-valve 4.6. Next time we see the car run, it will be a 5-liter Coyote.
Swap day!
All right. How to remove an engine from a 99 to 04 Mustang. First you're going to do is you're going to remove your bleeder. There you go. And you're going to let the coolant drain. You're going to pull the cap off right here. And you're going to remove the alternator and the battery and the air intake. One screw on the top and a couple of hose clamps. And then you're going to remove all the vacuum lines and all the connectors. All of these connectors got to come off. All of them. All of these. There's little push buttons if you look on them. There's a little push button on there. Push it in, pull it out. Same thing with these. Little clamps on the side, squeeze them together. Now she's draining. Remove the plenum. It's a couple of screws. The screws on the back for the throttle linkage. If you open the throttle, this will turn and slide out. And the same thing with this throttle position sensor. You're going to turn it and you're basically going to just slide that right out, right? And then you take the bolts holding the bracket off and you take this and you put it to the side. If you go into the passenger compartment, you're going to see this. And you're just basically going to lift this up out of the top of the throttle pedal. These two bolts, you're going to pop it out. And put this to the side because we're going to delete this because the Coyote is going to go in there. So this is just a 10mm bolt and this comes right off. There's also another one up here. You can see it here. And then the third one is right down here. You can see it. That's the third one. All three of these have to come out. And then you also have to remove this part here. And then all of the, cables will be done. All right, so now that I got everything out of here, the next step, the fuel rail's out and the intake, all the bolts for the intake, right? And we're gonna lift the intake out, which will reveal the top two bolts of the transmission. All of this to get to the transmission. 10mm nuts, because I'm nuts 40. All right, so I got the AC compressor out, I've got the power steering pump out, I've got the intake out, I've got all this stuff disconnected, and the next step is going to be disconnecting the drivetrain. I'm gonna have to disconnect the exhaust first, which is gonna be fun, because this has never been off the car, so that's gonna be fun. Game is cold on account of rain. Look at that rear end, man. All right, so the simple solution to the sway bar mounting brackets being stuck was to cut the sway bar itself. Now, I do have a replacement, so, you know, if you don't have a replacement and plan to replace these, then I wouldn't cut the bar, you know. Yep, so I cut it close to the bracket, and then I just wiggled it out. Same thing on the other side, I just wiggle it out. Because it's loose enough, I got the whole bar through that way. It's the easiest way to do it. And when cutting it out doesn't work, you burn it out with the fire. Ah, success. So as you can see, those two sensors, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, how are you supposed to get your hand in there to take these out? You know what? There's my tool. All right, so now I'm going to be taking the transmission out. This is where things get sketchy, especially when you're working on the ground, in the driveway or in the street. You have to make sure that this thing is safely secured, because it does weigh a lot. As much as people like to say, oh, it's easy to do, it doesn't weigh that much, you know, 100 pounds falling on your head is a lot. So what I have here is a transmission jack with a ratcheting strap and a platform. So this is specifically designed for this, to keep this from falling on your head. Hello there. Scooted it right out the side, right over here. And then I transferred it to these dollies. Made this wood frame. Put it on some dollies so I can roll it into the garage. And then what I'll do is I'll lift it, put this on the ground, and wait for its new owner to come in and pick it up to get it out of the way. Clean the whole engine bay using pressure washer and then degreaser and water. And then I took compressed air and I blew out all the connectors and everything that had electronics in it so the water wouldn't pool. And yep, that's basically it. And then once it was all clean, then I wire brushed off the rust. I cleaned it again and let it dry. And then I sprayed it with self-etching primer and gold paint to match. All right, here we go. The engine is underneath the bay. You can see what I did. Essentially what I did was I went in from the side, and it's on a dolly in the front, very, very, very carefully. Moving it with my foot to keep it under the dolly, moving it really slowly. And then I use the transmission jack. It's strapped in so it won't tilt, right? And then what I'm doing now is I'm lining it up to make sure that it's where it's supposed to be, so when I lift it, it's in place, right? And then in it goes. And once I get it up, I'll probably lift it back in so it's level. And then I have to put the K-member underneath it. I'll probably do that with the lift table once it's under. Yep. Oh yeah. Engine's in the car. Look at this beauty. Yeah, buddy. Looks factory like it's supposed to be there. right? Nice. Anyway, so not the easiest thing to do. It was definitely challenging. I've been at it for quite a while now, but the finished product. There it is. All the fluids are in there. The engine's in the bay. 2006 GT seats. Yep. There we go. And we have our relocated battery. There we go. Gotta put it down. The passenger seat's not in there yet, but I gotta put it down.
I got the cheese, I got the cheese.
Go.
Thanks for the hug. I put that blip on everything.
Oh! End of a long journey. That's all I gotta say. The car is finished. The car's finished. The car is finished. The control pack is controlling. The flux capacitor is fluxing. The air-fuel ratio is also fluxing like crazy. I'm telling you. Here, watch this. Made it to the end. Thank God. I will say, that was a lot of work. And half of the aggravation is not even in the work itself, because to me, I find that kind of stuff cathartic. I enjoy working on things and keeping my mind active, and having, when I come home from work frustrated because of whatever, then you can work on the car in the driveway and you can just put in work. You don't have to deal with anything else outside of that. It's enjoyable because you're working toward a goal, something for yourself. That's where I'm at now. But I'd say the build is 95% of the way finished. The car is finished. All the rust has been taken care of. I've done the suspension, the brakes, the engine, the interior. Let me tell you, the 06 seats, so much better. But before I get distracted and go off on a tangent, I just want to keep this video short. I do want to say thank you for those of you that have come along on the journey. I really appreciate it. And the comments, as far as, you know, I'm not a professional filmmaker, but I've tried to make adjustments as I go to make these videos less, you know, talking and more action. And with that in mind, the next episode is going to be all about the dyno, the track, and the completed project. I'll show you the whole thing. I'll give you a quick walkthrough as far as everything I did. I'll take you to the dyno. We'll see what dyno numbers it does, and then we're going to take it to the track and see if that translates to the track with the stock rear end, and then as far as the gear ratios. And then after that, I'm going to analyze with the performance shop where I should go as far as 373s, 410s. I'm still on the fence. I have 373s, but I don't know if it's going to be enough with this engine, the way it revs. But we'll see. Until next time, this is the end, my friend. Yep.